Hey guys, we're back with the house in Fata Morgana. Hold on, let's get out of here. This song still makes me tear up a little. Oh no, wrong thing. I want to go to the concert hall. There we go. So I'm giving like a final thoughts video for this. I've never really done one of these before. I usually just like add on like after I finish a game, I'll put like 10 or 20 minutes of me talking at the end. But since the video is already so long, I'm doing a separate video. This is my third time, like my third take of doing this. My first one was like a month ago, and it was pretty bad. I just kind of rambled on and on for like an hour. So I scrapped that, and like last week I did one, and it wasn't bad, just it could have been a lot better. Just wasn't satisfied with it, I guess. So what song should I put on? Cecile, that's a good one. So I'm just going to talk a bit about things I couldn't talk about with Fata Morgana, you know, during the series. So obviously there's the ending and the backstage, I guess. But let's talk about the ending first. I loved it. So when I first started Fata Morgana, I was expecting like a sad ending, or like at least a bittersweet ending. I want to call the ending bittersweet. Like the white-haired girl dies, but everyone else goes on to be happy. So, like, is there any other sad portion of it? Like, what did Didier and George's? Well, it's implied that they might come back, like with Michelle's line of thought. Like they would have changed how Michelle thought about it if they didn't want the reader to think, oh, there's a possibility of them coming back. If that makes sense. Because Michelle thinks something like, oh, they're probably, like, they might come back, hopefully, or something like that. I forget the exact line. But anyway, it's overall happy ending. Mostly everyone gets reincarnated in the modern time. They all happy. And I loved it. Because I thought it was going to be a sad ending. I was prepared for, like, the greatest tragedy of all time. But around the time that Door 6 started, I started to, you know, kind of key in that there's gonna be a good ending, or at least a semi-good ending, and it wouldn't be a complete tragedy. By Door 8, I was pretty sure about it, but I was mostly worried that they'd fail the execution of it, I guess. Like, I can think, like, Rewrite, it has an ending that, if it went on for like 5 more minutes, I would have loved it, probably. And the anime did fix that a little, but still, it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth of how abruptly Rewrite ended. Steins Gate, kind of the same thing, less so. But like Fata Morgana, I think it did a perfect job at it. Gave everyone the screen time they needed. They gave Giselle and Michelle just enough time to be like, okay, I love it. Like, that CG2 was great. Like, it's still my desktop wallpaper. It's been, today's December 17th? September, did I say December? I don't know. It's September 17th. It's been like, what, 3 months since I finished? About? Give or take, maybe 2. I finished it June? I want to say June. So, you know, it's been a while, but I'm not changing this wallpaper for a while. I love it. And, yeah. Sorry. Do I have anything more to say about the ending other than it's so great? I just loved it. I love happy endings. Like, I don't like happy endings that aren't, like, deserved, I guess. That aren't built up to. But this one's fully justified. Like, everything past like Door 5 was just building up to it. Even Door 5 kind of was. Then, so I guess we could talk about themes. Like, that's something I talked about in both my last themes. My last final class videos that I scrapped. Like, this is the big one that I think I pointed it out from the beginning or so. You know, different perspectives on everything. And it became incredibly more obvious as the game went on. Especially with Door 8. Like, you know, obviously there's the, oh, Door 1, Door 2, Door 3, they're all from different perspectives. Neat. But there's also just, like, how different perspective changes things. Like, the difference between Mel and Nellie's perspective, or the Beasts and Pauline's, or the white-haired girls and Jacopo's. Now, they completely had a warped view of each other. Door 5, not so much, but, I mean, it's still there, with Michelle and Giselle's different perspectives. Now, things are a bit different, specifically with the, you know, whole subtext involving Michelle. And Door 6, not so much. You could argue that, like, perspective does matter. There's Morgana's retelling of the flashback, and how like her view of it is different from how she felt at the time. Like, you know, how she's just like, oh, it's just placebo, ha ha ha. And yeah, there's one thing that I don't know if I'd call it a theme, but it's close to one. Like, there's a lot of religious symbolism in Fata Morgana. What was up with Michelle being called an angel so much? Like, was it just because he's such a cool guy and everybody loves him? Or, like, was there some symbolic meaning behind that I missed? Like, it could be either one. Like, if I went back and did a reread, maybe I'd pick something up. Which I plan to do. Like, I know that, Michelle gets sort of dialogue for the first 4 doors. Like, whenever the May just talked back to you and responded without, you know, you, that's Michelle, giving, like, saying anything, there's actually dialogue there now, that's a neat touch. But I'm also glad that wasn't there the first time, too, because that adds, like, that helps add to, like, the aura of mystery that the entirety of, like, the first 4 doors had in Fata Morgana, which is part of why I loved those first 4 doors so much. Like, I don't really, would I like the first 3 doors? Maybe fourth too, as much? I don't know. Because looking back, they all seem kind of weak in comparison to the latter half. Like, I like door 1 and 2. Door 3 was, I want to call it bad, but I don't really remember liking it too much. Like, same with door 1, like, in retrospect, I really like it. When I was reading it, it just felt kind of, like, it was building up to something big, but it never really came, I guess. But I still love door 1, in, like, its own way. I was just expecting something completely different out of it. Door 2, though, that's probably the best door of the first half. I really liked it. Although, I remember the Pauline sections were really long. I don't know if they could have cut some of those down or not. I'd have to, you know, go back and look at it. Like, they were necessary, sure, but they could have cut a good, like, probably hour of it. It wouldn't have changed much. It's been a while since, you know, I uploaded those, so maybe I'm just misremembering, but it's good to bring up the flaws in Fata Morgana, I think. Like, I think Fata Morgana is extremely close to a masterpiece. Not quite, because that's Umineko. Umineko's the only masterpiece allowed. Like, Umineko has flaws too, come on now. But I think it's good to acknowledge, you know, when stories have flaws. Like, some people, every time you bring up, like, a flaw in something, they hate it. But I think something having flaws makes it better, honestly. And being able to pinpoint what those flaws are. Like, there's the obvious pacing problem with the flashbacks that kind of killed all momentum the story had to, you know. But they were necessary, sure, but I can't think of a better way they could have been executed, but still. Like, another thing with Morgana, like, she was kind of built up as, like, a third main character. Like, even a commoner mentioned, like, called her a third main character. But she never really got the screen time she needed. Like, she had a few really good scenes. Basically every scene she's in is good, but she just didn't really have the time to have as much character development as Michelle or Giselle did. Well, I think she had a great deal of character development, but you get what I mean by that, right? Well, even Michelle and Giselle, they didn't get as much screen time as they could have. Since, you know, the way the story's told, they weren't even really characters until door 5. Well, I mean, the maid was, but... And Michelle kind of was, not really, but kind of. That's arguable. But, like, how could they have shoehorned Morgana in any earlier? Like, it would have completely ruined everything in the first 4 doors if she showed up there. Like, door 5, like I don't know. Like, that's probably the best way they could have done it, but still. It didn't really feel like she was a main character to me in the same way that Michelle and Giselle were. She felt like a slightly more important than Mel, Jacopo, and Yukimasa character. Which, Mel's also the best character, by the way, that isn't Michelle or Giselle. Would I rank him above Morgana? I don't know. But let's change songs. Should we do another happy song, like March of Time? That's a happy one, right? I'd call it a happy one. And, yeah, Morgana, like, I want to call her a main character. Like, I get why you would. but she just didn't really have the screen time necessary, I guess. Like, what scenes does she show up in? Like, okay, we'll count her first flashback, sure. The ending of Door 7, I guess? Like, the last, like, 30 minutes to an hour of it. She kind of shows up a little. And then she has, like, a dream section in Door 8, and then, like, the last hour of the game. She probably had, like, 2 hours total. Well, Michelle and Giselle had easily over, like, what, 5? I guess screen time doesn't, you know, decide if you're a main character or not, but still. She was a great antagonist, though. I really like the, I always love, like, revenge themes where your revenge isn't, you need to let go. Like, I love Fallout New Vegas, although that's not really revenge, but letting go. I just love that as a theme. Like, my favorite book is The Count of Monte Cristo. That's how you say it, right? Cristo? But, so every time I see that theme, I'm just like, oh, it's so good. Like, Fata Morgana even have, like, the 3 men I need revenge on thing. Wait, it's 3 Monte Cristo, right? Wait, is it 4? There's the prosecutor, the neighbor, his fiance's new husband, and is there a 4th one? Oh yeah, there's that one other guy. Yeah, there's 4 of them. Never mind. Unless we got Michelle, but that doesn't really count. It's been a while since I read that. Well, it hasn't been that long. I read it like 2 years ago, I think. But anyway, I'm rambling now. The backstage was also a lot of fun. I agree. Games that are serious, like 90% of the times, tend to have the best comedy. Like, I know Fate Stay Night is relatively serious most of the time, but it had a spin-off anime called Carnival Phantasm. That was just brilliant as a comedy. And I'm eagerly awaiting for another season if it ever comes. And Fata Morgana did the same thing. The backstage, like, it probably wouldn't have been funny if Fata Morgana hadn't been so serious, I guess. Like, not all the jokes are that great, but still, just the context of all these serious characters coming together and joking around like this just made it a lot of fun. Speaking of, an April Fool's game got translated a couple days ago, and I read it. It'll be going up the day after next that this comes out. So if you're watching this and it's been at least 2 days, it's already up. It's like Carrot Cake Shuffling Incident. It's like an hour long. I play it myself personally before watching me play it, but you know, if you want to watch me play it first, go right ahead. Or you could just not watch it at all. It's like, you know, you do you. It's fun, but there's not too much more there, I guess. And yeah, how far in this are we? 12 minutes? What else do I have to add? Talked about like themes. I talked about. Could talk about Michelle a bit more. Like, I was the greatest main character of all time except for Battler, and maybe Shiro, because I also really like Shiro, even though Fate Stay Night isn't like masterpiece level. But Michelle was still great though. I loved him as a protagonist. You know, at times I felt like he was being a bit too, like, good, I guess. But I guess that is his character though. Like the change from being, you know, some neat who doesn't leave his room and hates and, you know, puts a knife in Giselle's face. It went from that to, you know, being cool. I'm gonna save everyone's soul. Yay. And also, Door 7 was just great. Like, if I had to make like a tier list of the doors, it'd be like 5, because 5's obviously the best. That's indisputable. Then 7, because 7 was just great. And then 8, because I was expecting not to like 8 actually, because Umineko, the final episode, is arguably the weakest or the second weakest. And like, it's still good, but it's just not the same as the rest. But with Fata Morgana, I was like, this is awesome, I love it. And then what? This one's hard. I guess I'd put 2, 1, 4, 3, 6. Like 6 just didn't really have much going for it, I guess. Like, it was something that was necessary, but still, that's the whole. 6 is the thing that hurt the momentum of Fata Morgana the most, I guess. Like, The Maid's Tale, I didn't really like it, honestly. And then Morgana's flashback was good, but it also was like 2.5 hours long, maybe 2 hours. So that kind of killed a lot of, you know, momentum. As I've been saying, like, I've said momentum probably 5 times this video. But I love Fata Morgana. I'm playing A Requiem for Innocence right now. I've started. I'm like 10, 11 episodes in. I'm still early on. I think I just got to the birthday party. I haven't started that yet. So, I have a lot of despair coming, I suppose. I feel like I want to say more. Like, I could make this video an hour long and I would still want to say more. So I'm going to leave it here. I plan to do another Final Thoughts video after Requiem for Innocence. So, if there's anything you want me to talk about, leave a comment. I'll respond to it and give my thoughts on it. But I'll also talk about it in the next Final Thoughts video. The final Thoughts video. That's what I'm going to call it. So, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching, everyone. May we meet again in the endless boundless sphere of fate. I got it right. By that I mean go watch A Requiem for Innocence. It's not starting out as strong. Like, I don't like it as much as I like a Fata Morgana so far, but I think that's gonna change pretty soon. Like, it's starting to pick up. It just took a while. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll be back with Carrot Cake Shuffling Incident and then A Requiem for Innocence. Please stay tuned and watch those too. I like it. I like it when you guys watch. And leave comments. I love that. Fata Morgana has probably been my favorite series I've done so far. Just because I've had a lot of comments. Not just, like, I've had, like, what, 3 or 4 different commenters leaving multiple comments? Something like that. Maybe it's just been, like, 2 or 3, but still. I love responding to questions. So leave more. Anyway, for real this time, for real. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.